I'm one of a very small handful of academics who dared to advocate openly for Brexit, and now I'm kind of openly shunned and thought a racist by many colleagues and close personal friends. It is kind of hard to follow that. I do actually have a master's in political science, sorry about that. But I suppose I'm on the right side, so I'll get away with it. Now, let me just say that I think it's very important to defend and advocate to invoke Article 50 as quickly as possible, because it is what people voted for, right? We have to defend the principle of popular sovereignty and democracy. However, I wouldn't want the importance of that to be overstated, because I don't think it's true that there's a consensus forming to overturn the referendum result. I think the initial outrage and the desire to frustrate the popular will has ebbed, and now is mainly kind of harbored by embittered academics and lawyers. I think the mood music has moved on. The Remainer bourgeoisie has certainly moved on. The people who were trying to scare us witless are now saying, oh, well, you know, we'll just adapt and blah, blah. The main political parties show no appetite for overturning the referendum. The Tories certainly don't want to defy their own base and deepen the constitutional crisis. New Prime Minister says Brexit is Brexit. We have a Secretary of State for Brexit. Brexit, I think, is going to happen. The question is when. And the tactic now delaying the invocation of Article 50, I think, is merely a tactic to buy some time to put together a negotiating position. So, to my mind, the real risk of reversing Brexit is if the EU itself changed. If it suddenly changed its character in response to this democratic eruption, particularly around the issue of free movement, then the issue of the membership of the UK would be reopened. But given that the EU never responds to democratic eruptions, but merely goes off on its own merry way, I think that's a very unlikely thing to happen. So for me, the question we need to keep pressing, certainly because it's the only firm way to stop elite backsliding once and for all. But for me, the question is not whether or when Brexit will happen, but what sort of Brexit will it be? And I think it's important to recognise that this is the question that an in-out referendum did not and could not possibly answer. People said during the referendum that it had become about something else. It had become about a range of different policy areas like like immigration or the economy or whatever. But when it boiled down to it, none of those issues were decided by the referendum. The only issue that was decided was the issue on the ballot paper. Are we in or are we out? We decided that we're out. And I believe that we will leave, but the question is, on what terms? The truth is that the Leave campaign was so atrocious that it did not articulate a clear plan, a clear vision for a post-EU Britain. The leaders of the Leave campaign clearly did not expect or even want to win. And after they won, they were so horrified with the result that they tried to evade all responsibility for the future governance of this country. So they are not here to lead the people who voted to leave. So I think we need to recognise that the referendum, the Brexit vote, as Brendan said, was a great democratic moment, but it was not a democratic movement. And that is a crucial distinction. The Brexit vote was a rebellion against a political class that has become progressively more divorced from ordinary people, but it didn't create an alternative. The left was completely and utterly absent from the debate on both sides. The Eurosceptic right ran away and has since completely imploded. So that void between the rulers and the ruled remains unfilled. Certainly a great, massive grenade has been thrown into it and exploded, and it has blown the house of cards down, and that is something to be welcomed. But that void remains as wide as ever, and this is why it has fallen to the last woman standing, an unelected Prime Minister, Theresa May, to define what Brexit means on behalf of the entire population. And that shows us, I think, just how much work there is still to do to restore a healthy and flourishing democracy in this country. As well as demanding Article 50, therefore, we need to start formulating concrete demands about what post-Brexit Britain looks like, what kind of Brexit we want, what kind of country we want, and we need to start mobilising democratically to achieve that. Thanks.